let there be light. And there was light, Yehi Or. What is this light? That was the first act of creation. It was not the sun or the moon. Those were created on day 4. We know what Yehi Or means now. We know it because Genesis 1, I forgot to mention, is a text written by particular priests from the Temple of Jerusalem. And it is actually a charter of priestly theology. It's esoteric theology, meaning those who don't have a particular level of knowledge will read it and only read the surface meaning. But that second meaning, that deeper meaning, particular knowledge is required to access it. Priests associated with the Temple of Jerusalem, comrades of the priests responsible for Genesis 1, have left us literature talking about Genesis 1 and explaining Genesis 1. And so now we can say of a surety what Yehi Or means. For example, Ezekiel 1, first chapter of Ezekiel, is a commentary, intertextual commentary on Genesis 1. And according to the priest prophet Ezekiel, that man God on the throne, that human-like God on the throne, that beamed with light, that is Ezekiel's priestly interpretation of Yehi Or. Psalms 102 is a commentary on Genesis 1 and identifies the light of 1:4 as the garment of God. Garment in the Bible, a metaphor for body of God. The prologue of John, the author of John, we have every reason to believe now, was a priestly Jew from the Second Temple time. There are 2 temples in Jerusalem. The first one that was destroyed in 586, and then it was rebuilt 70 years later, destroyed again in 70-80 AD. John, the author of John, the prologue in particular, we have every reason to believe was a priestly Jew formerly associated with the Second Temple. And his prologue, linguistically, it has been demonstrated, is a commentary on the first 4 verses of Genesis. And John, this priestly author, identifies the light of Genesis as the logos of his prologue. God, the creator. So, and Philo of Alexandria, most important first century Jew from Alexandria, Egypt, who was from a priestly lineage, also identified the light of 1:4. Let there be light, and there was light. That was the luminous being of God emerging from that triple darkness. According to all 4 of these texts, priestly texts, we are to understand the emergence of light in Genesis as the emergence of God's luminous body, his kavod. This is how it's depicted in Jewish esotericism, Kabbalah. God, this is the letters of the name Yahweh, Yod-He, Vav-He, formulated in the form of a man of fire. And this is what we are to understand the light that emerged in Genesis from triple darkness represents. God's first appearance in human form, a form of light. That's day 1. Now, it's real brief. One of the arguments, y'all okay?
Yes, sir.
One of the arguments of my brother and yours, Gino Jennings, is this statement in Isaiah. I form light and create darkness. Well, if God forms the light and he creates darkness, then God pre-existed darkness. How then can God come from darkness? Okay. Again, we'll call this the tyranny of King James. Our brother is terrorized, victimized by his dependence on King James. Because, see, the actual Hebrew is, I am the former of light and fashioner of darkness. The verb bore means to fashion something to a desired state. Bring it to a desired state. It pre-existed, but it was in an unpleasing state. To bore, to fashion darkness is to make it useful. It's to manipulate it in such a way that it's pleasing to God. So, no. Isaiah doesn't contradict Elijah. Isaiah contradicts King James and Gino. But Isaiah was perfectly consistent with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The Quran says pretty much the same.
Oh, yes, sir.
Our brother had the nerve to quote this verse. And he put on his Islamic scholar hat. He took off his Christian pastor hat. Put on his Islamic scholar hat. And presumed to teach us Islam. All praises belong to Allah, who created the heavens and the earth and made the darkness and the light. Again, the argument is the same. The Quran says God made the darkness. How then do you say, Elijah, that he was created from darkness? Like the Hebrew terms of creation, the Arabic terms of creation are not terms of creation, they're terms of manipulation of pre-existing materials. Halakha, creation of a thing after measuring and designing it, often after the measure of another pre-existent thing, to determine a thing's measure. God created the heavens and the earth. He didn't poof it, he measured, designed it after a pre-existing archetype, prototype. So there was pre-existent material utilized in the Quran's creation. As Jesus says, he it is who created you from clay. Well, he created you, the same word is used here, not poof. There was pre-existent material, the clay, from which you were created. The Arabic creation terms imply in no way creation from nothing.